All right, well, first of all, thank you, Malcolm, and thanks to the GCEA for having me tonight. I'm going to do about a 40-minute presentation talking about software UI prototyping and about the tool that we make here at Axure, which is called Axure RP. So Axure RP, the RP stands for Rapid Prototyping, and this is a piece of desktop software. You'll see it in a moment. It looks sort of like a Photoshop type of interface, and it's all about quickly building software user interfaces, but they're just prototypes. So it's just sort of a quick mock-up of the real thing that you can then share with what we call stakeholders commonly. So anyone in the project who has a say in the final outcome of, when you're developing your mobile app, mobile site, or a desktop site, or desktop app, or other piece of software. So to prototype is to rapidly create an approximation of a design idea so that you can quickly get feedback and learn. And it's important to remember that the goal in prototyping is not the artifact. So the thing you're seeing here that I've created, this isn't really what we're trying to get, right? It's feedback. Build some prototypes, try them out, and use what you've learned to try the next design. So in the context of building software projects, you want to make the easy mistakes before you commit to code. It's much faster to prototype than it is to build for real. You can get feedback more quickly from stakeholders. People are less attached to something when it's lower fidelity. We'll talk about fidelity a lot here as I get into the tool, but the idea that you would build something that doesn't look like a real system, you've created it quickly, but you put that in front of people and they don't focus on colors. They don't think that you're showing them final designs, and you're able to direct their attention toward the questions that you want answered at that stage of the process. Okay, so why would visual design students, I know this is a group of graphic communications educators here that I'm talking to, so why would your students want to prototype? Well, beyond the idea that you would want to develop those high visual fidelity prototypes, and maybe that would be your student's role on the project, it's also great to consider functional design because these are areas that are continuing to merge over the last 10 or 15 years. Something like this, you would be able to really input this information, and then based on what you type in here, you can affect things on other pages of a design that you would build. So I could submit this, and I would get either this, a message of this kind that would pop up, or I could submit other credentials and get to a different page. And you've got some default structures that you can use right out of the box. We've got image placeholders. These can be loaded with real graphics if you like, but if you're just doing lo-fi wireframing type stuff, you can drag this on, resize it, place it how you like. Boxes, just for your kind of undifferentiated design elements. We've got form elements like text fields and so forth. Just a matter of dragging that on, and then when you preview or build the output, as I've just done here, something like a text field, this will turn into a real working form element in the output. Axure RP is commonly used, pretty popular for mobile apps and mobile sites. So we have some training materials specifically dedicated to mobile app design. This is a file that you can download from our site that has a number of mobile structures, common mobile structures. I'm going to just fire this up. This one's pretty interactive, so you can see if I go to the finished thing, you'll see the design pop into this device frame here. There are a couple of things that you can do here, including you go to different screens with a bit of a transition animation. I don't know if that was something that you could see. I don't know what the lag's like on this presentation, but you can see I can kind of go back and forth here and get this transition. There's a couple of different controls with different levels of fidelity. This one's just a two-state switch. This one has an animation. There's a tray that slides out. I've got this scrolling animation, then I've got a slideshow that I have to click and drag. So this would be like a swipe that gets me through a slideshow. So all of this was built in Axure RP. So each of these pages that you saw in the output corresponds to a page here in the project, the working project. And we've got a frame that is just a graphic of a phone, and overlaid we've got an inline frame widget. And this is going to to point to another HTML page in the output, and it's going to be one of these pages. And then on each of these pages, we've got content that, and this is because this is designed for learning, our tool. We've sort of done a lot of it for you here by just adding static content, these links and images and so forth. And then the idea for the student would be to kind of do the last step of enabling the interactivity in each case. So this is kind of what you can see, what you will expect if you open up a working Axure RP file. You can see the tray menu is a separate structure. These are actually all individual widgets. This is a group, so you can group widgets together and kind of work with them that way. But if you want to create interactivity in Axure RP, you don't need to know how to code anything, even though that's what's powering things behind the scenes. What you'll do is open up these over here on the right side of the interface. You'll go to the properties pane of what we call the inspector, and you'll add cases on certain events for each of your design elements, each of your widgets. And they're learning the tool for the first time. We'll have people remake an existing site or mobile app in Axure RP just to whatever level of fidelity they're able to. They would just kind of take you can start with a screenshot of a home page of a site, bring it into Axure RP. You can cut it up using the slice and crop tools that I didn't have time to show you, but you can kind of get that into a bunch of pieces, and then you can start to add interactivity onto that and try to make something that looks and works like the original site. That's a really good early skill building exercise.